Is Wednesday. All right.
No,
We
it
call
isn't.
it Dollar Bin Bandit Day. What day is it? It's
It's
not Wednesday.
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. I'm so used to our regular shows. Well, screw that. The best way to
Oh,
start,
live television.
live.
Anything can happen.
Well, look, you know how we usually start these things. I'm Joe Marcello, joined as always by my bandit brother, Mike Farah.
Hey, everybody.
And Orrin Phillips is having some connection issues right about now. So he hopefully will be joining us momentarily by computer or cell phone. At any rate, thank you for joining us. If you are, if not, you're
Too
lost.
bad for you.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to record this and send it out a bunch of different ways.
No, that won't happen at all. I will be heavily editing it to cut out any flubs like I just did when we started. That being said, we want to thank anyone and everyone who has listened to us, that is watching now, or has listened to us talk about any of this stuff in the past year. So thank you all. This has been cool. This whole thing. What's that?
Sorry, I'm just noticing we have some live, viewers here.
Do
We
we?
got Eddie from the Batcave is joining and says, "What's up, guys? Congrats!"
Hey.
So thanks, Eddie. And the congrats are for just before we go any farther, our 1-year anniversary.
Thank you so much.
Can you believe it?
So I'm a little bummed that Orrin's not on at the moment because, if anyone's heard me talk already, but this is all his doing, this whole Dollar Bin Bandits thing. About a little over a year ago, he came to me and said, "Look, I want to do a podcast. Would you be interested?" I said, "Sure. I listened to enough of them. I could do one." And we both like comics. So he's like, "Let's try a comic book, podcast." So we downloaded Zoom and here we are. And, quite interestingly enough, our first guest was none other than my bandit brother, Mike Farah. And
Thank you.
yeah, we sucked him in. So now he's part of it.
Yeah. So I think the first show went live when it was only YouTube, right?
Right.
Which is the initial launch on February 7th or 8th. You would think I know this. One of the hallmarks of our show is that our facts and figures are never quite correct, and our research is quite, how would you say, lacking.
Yeah. No,
But,
look, Mike, I think it's safe to say that we are a C+ operation at best.
yeah,
But
solid.
it's solid.
Solid C.
Yeah. No, we are, steadily.
We're cut above the D's and F's.
Yeah, no,
for
definitely.
sure.
We will try to work hard to improve that over the next year and, play well with others.
Yes.
So that's our goal.
Yeah. So I was very happy to join the first episode. I thought it was a great idea. I had always wanted to get into podcasting, and I thought, you guys having this show was a really good sort of entree into that. And then you started getting awesome guests, and I was like, what's happening here? Yeah. I thought it was going to be the show where, you were starting with a few guests that you knew, like me. And I thought it was going to be a show where it was you guys talking about comics, like what you picked up at the dollar bins, like old stories. Every once in a while, maybe you'd be lucky enough to get, some creator on there.
Yeah.
But then things started happening, and you guys hooked up with Yeet, and you just started getting, I think really maybe your big first one, William Messner Loebs. I should start saying we instead of your.
Yeah, no,
'cause
absolutely.
I joined up, but
yeah, you are a part of the you're part of the gig. But yeah, it was Mike Jones from Yeet who got us in contact with William Messner Loebs. And I think Orrin and I just had this whole deer in the headlights look the entire time because we had a basic idea of what we wanted to do, no real idea of how to do it. and it was just us asking questions like, "Hey, that was cool," like, Chris Farley. But he was I mean, if there was anyone, he was the perfect person for us to talk to as our first guest because he was very warm and inviting to talk to, and just a pleasure. So, yeah, it was good. It was fun.
Yeah. And then you kept getting these guests, and I'm like, hey, you guys are talking to a lot of interesting people. You got like this backlog of interviews. Like, how can I be a part of this? And can we, selfishly, I was like, can we make this into a podcast? Because I'm like a podcast fiend. I barely listen to music anymore. I'm like always listening to podcasts.
Yeah. Me too.
And you guys invited me on board, and the rest was sort of history, I guess. But I thought we can back up and kind of interview each other a bit in terms of the first question. There is Oren, hopefully,
Yeah,
at
Oren.
least a slow moving version of him. We'll keep going for now, and hopefully he'll be able to sort of jump into the conversation. If not, maybe we have a backup plan. Oren, you want to talk? Not so much yet. So let's keep going for the sake of not having dead air. So what were I going to say? Oh, I wanted to pose the question to Joe, and hopefully Oren, which is the question we ask everybody: how did you discover comics?
Wow, this is crazy. I'm getting the mic is being turned on me. Yeah, so you're to blame. No. So I, like everyone else that we talked to and you guys, I found comics through other people. Some, my neighbor at the time read comics. He was reading the G.I. Joe Marvel run the first time around. And he got to a point and lost interest in it and says, "Here, do you want to read these?" I said, "Sure." And I started reading them, but I never got into it so much. And then I kind of lost track or, lost interest in comics. And then it wasn't another, many years later till I was in high school and I knew you guys. And, going to your house and going with you guys to the comic book shops, did I get into it because I would just thumb through your stacks. And I was like, there's really no reason why I should buy comics of my own. So the first one I bought for myself was it was a Transformers comic. It was old, which I just repurchased. And then the big one for me was the Death of Superman graphic novel. So then it was kind of all over from there. I just bought all kinds of stuff.
That was the in, huh?
That was my big in. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I think it was kind of a similar story, except with Oren being the mentor. I wish he were here, and hopefully he'll be able to join soon. But he was the first one that got into comics, and I think it was his dad that really gave him his first first go around. Hey,
my garbage computer. Hopefully, something falls on it and it breaks. But
oh, good. Well, you came in at the perfect time.
Yeah,
we were reflecting as if in the mirror our usual first question to guests. So I'll throw it to you, and then you could throw it back to me, which is, how did you discover comics?
Oh, well, I guess my dad. He just bought me a Spider-Man comic, and he would read it to me when I was little, and then of course always buying me superhero toys and stuff like that. So it was just sort of part of my life, and it grew from there. So I had to thank my pops. And you, Mr. Farrer?
And me, well, I was saying that my story is similar to Joe's in the same way that I guess I was, the one who let him borrow comics and then take them to the shops or whatever. You were that for me. So I basically, we would be over each other's houses all the time because not only were we friends, but our parents were. And, at some point you showed me comics among the, other things that we were doing, like playing the crappy Carmen Sandiego game on the computer and eating slices of Viennetta. And then one day I think like I borrowed some comics from you, and you're like, you can, there are stores where you can look through these and actually get your own. And I think you took me to the store, and I'm like, well, I'm going to buy this Superman comic where it looks like his powers have gone away and he needs a robot suit.
What?
And I think I've told this before. So it was, I forget the exact issue. I'm going to have to go back and look. But it was the storyline was the Curse of the Crimson Kryptonite.
Okay.
And yeah, so this was the red kryptonite that does not kill Superman or maim him, but takes away his powers. And so I think he has to go to Star Labs for them to put together basically an Iron Man suit for him to use because he's lost his powers. And I thought it was the coolest looking thing. I don't know why. I was like, why does Superman need a robot suit? Isn't he Superman?
You were wrong.
It blew my mind.
Not to be confused with the Super Friends Superman space shuttle that had the arms that came out to grab the kryptonite rods or something like that.
Yes, not to be confused with that.
Because that was
this was more of just like your prototypical like armor suit with like a bubble kind of thing, because you want to see Superman's face. It's a handsome
moneymaker
face
right there.
Exactly.
Somebody maker.
You don't want to cover that up. So that's our kind of origin story into this. Eddie's thrown some questions at us already, and we got some others. But since he's asking, how long have we known each other? Oh, that's a good question. So, Oren, you want to tackle? So, Oren and I met first way back when we were how old? 3?
2.
Yeah.
And
we went to
the YMHA. Yeah.
And it was friendship at first sight.
And then Joey, and then you met Joe later on.
And then I met Joe when I went to his school.
It was our school.
I know it was our school. But,
that's nice.
I entered at middle school. I think you were all the way at elementary, right?
I had started in elementary, and then I think you came in.
I came in 7th grade.
Yeah, 7th grade. So I've known you since then, and then shortly thereafter, I go to your house, and there's this tall blonde guy.
Like the Fonz, man.
Yeah, I was like, who the hell is this?
Who's this guy that just seemingly hanging out at Mike's house?
Jesus, this guy's always. And then from there, it was just, making Taco Bell runs and going to movies and hanging out in your TV room and making fun of Star Wars.
Yeah, living the wild teenage life.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was over the top.
Can you tell we were popular with the girls?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. The 4 that we knew. It was jump to how old now? 35 years later, and we're making podcasts.
Exactly. That was our plan from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yep.
When Joe met Oren in my house, we were like, you know what? We should make a podcast in about. They didn't exist then, but
no. And I was just like, guys, picture this.
Do it in about 25 years.
We're gonna make radio programs from our computer, and then people will listen to them. On their phones.
Mm-hmm. We were ahead of our time.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was a vision.
This is all with the modem stuff going on in the background.
Yep. I didn't even.
But we were like, we're going to move past that.
So yeah, that's kind of how we got to know each other and our start in comics. And when we were singing your praises and the fact that this is all you're doing, the fact that we're here doing this, in actuality, it's all your fault. And
1 year later.
Yeah. So
well, we all pitch in, we all make it work, and that's where it is. And hopefully by this time next year, we'll have a lot more views, a lot more downloads, and just keep on having fun.
yeah, you'll have a new computer.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the folks would I hope you have a new computer. That would be the big
It's
goal.
all right. Your phone is doing well too. Don't worry.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It really is doing well.
Maybe you should just go with the phone
From now on.
Kind of like
Just
it.
turn it horizontally. You'll be fine.
I wonder if all the fine folks out there would like to know sort of our roles on the program, because, obviously we're all the co-hosts, but we have, I don't know, specialized positions, maybe. Am I getting into the Kama Sutra here?
We're pulling back the curtain, as they say.
We're pulling back the curtain. So from what I can, and you guys just jump in, but Oren is the one that makes the magic happen in terms of the guests. Like, he is the go-getter in terms of booking our guests, tenacious in his pursuit of getting us the greatest in comics talent.
Yep.
What can I say? What question can I even ask you? Or like, how do you do it?
Just a sweet talk. No, I think my background, I was a newspaper reporter for a long time. So approaching people a certain way has sort of helped me a lot. And honestly, just the kindness of these people to, take the time to speak with us. They don't have to. Like, they could say, listen, what do I talk to a bunch of you for? Who are you? But they take the time, and they're very, gracious. And I really can't say enough about how wonderful every single person we've spoken to has been. And it's an honor on our parts. And it's really just our way of saying thank you to all these people for all they've done for us as comic fans, us individually as comic fans as a whole. And, just to put a spotlight on them. I know we have a lot of big names of a spotlight on them anyway, but just like I said, it's our way to say thanks.
Agreed.
Yep.
We're very appreciative of everybody who's been on and will continue to come on. And we're very hopeful that some of these fine folks come on again. We're going to get into a little bit of, how long and how many questions we've had to leave on the, cutting room floor because we just don't have time. And so it's hard to get to a lot of these people's whole careers during the time we have sort of allotted without just speaking for hours and hours and hours, which we probably could if we didn't have other things to do.
Right.
Families.
Yeah.
Sleep.
But Joe is, in addition to co-host and the most sultry voice on the radio.
Well, thank you, Michael. I like to talk about it.
You're basically you're a producer. You're a tech guy, putting together the episodes both for YouTube and for the podcasts, and putting this whole thing together, which I'm sure Oren and I would be all thumbs trying to make work. So without these two guys, the show doesn't work. But what can I ask you, Joe? What's your favorite part about putting the show together, and what really just sucks?
Nothing. All your emails. No. I love working with you guys. I mean, it's fun. It's not work. It's something that we do in our pastime, what little we have. But I like doing this stuff. I like the technical aspect of it. And it's fun to do. I learn all kinds of new stuff. I learned a whole new program just doing this stuff. So, it's been good. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to parlay this into a regular paying gig like I'd wanted to many years ago. But, I'm able to do it like this and share it with everyone. So I'm absolutely cool with it. So
it builds a resume.
It does. What the hell is Dollar Bin Bandits?
You don't know who's watching, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean,
right now, 3 people. So
okay, I have my mirrored thing. I was about to say this guy, I meant this guy.
You're looking at
he is very hireable.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, there are a lot of things I would love to do with it, but we're only able to do so much. Yeah. But look, who knows what the next year will bring.
Yeah. And Mikey is the one who sort of keeps us all on track and keeps the schedule going and make sure we, have the intros and outros done. So
keeps us organized and
which is
honest.
important. Yeah. To keep this thing going, that we have everything we need. So, we can hit the ground running every week. I don't think I'm speaking at school about this, but I think we're going to be going to one episode per week. Are we thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to do like the definitive Wednesday, and then Fridays are going to be like true bonus episodes. So some Fridays we'll have them, some Fridays we won't. But yeah, Wednesday is going to be like the locus of our, intensity.
You'll be happy to know, Oren, that I flubbed the intro.
Nice.
Yeah. In true Dollar Bin Bandits
fashion. Except no one really knows that because we edit it heavily. But I said that today was Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
He went into his whole
hey everybody, welcome to okay.
All three people watching lost their shit when that happened. We had to.
Eddie was flabbergasted.
Eddie was pissed. He was like, "Stupid! It's Tuesday. What's wrong with you?"
What planet are these guys living on?
Guys getting high, messing around on the computer.
Hey. So, but that is what happens from a CC plus show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Should we get into some of these questions? Because we got some on Facebook. By the way, if you're not part of our nerdy group, Dollar Bin Banter, that's the name of our group, please join. Lots of crazy shenanigans happening there. So we have some questions there, and actually some questions from Twitter. So let's throw open the gates of these questions, and then maybe we'll have some other stuff after that.
Yeah.
Okay, so first question is, what are your desert island single issues? You're going to be marooned for God knows how long on a desert island.
Single issues.
Yeah, single issues is the difficult part for me. I have a lot of difficulty with that. So I'm going to open it up just because it's our show to storylines and runs as well.
All right.
Anybody got an answer?
Right here.
I think I know.
This is mine. This is Blackest Night.
I was gonna, Oren and I are like,
yeah.
On my little phone.
Blackest Night.
No, this one is the hell is absolute Blackest Night. So all that means is that it's bigger.
Well, that's probably why the boat sunk and you were on the desert island to begin.
That's why we're there. Yeah. No, that's sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there and cut you guys off, but I just had it readily available because these are my go-tos right here. My infinite or crisis shelf. Because those are the stories I can reread over and over again, and I never get tired of them.
Awesome.
I mean,
it's good that it jumps off the top of your head like that.
Yeah.
What do you got, Oren?
I was just saying, just give me any old random issues of like Badger or John Sable Freelance, and I'll be fine with that because I just dig them so much that I'd be happy to read those.
Low maintenance.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. Mike?
Me, I think I brought this up on the Facebook group recently, and for me, it doesn't get much better than the Peter David run on Hulk, and specifically the transition to the new Hulk when you got the green one, the Rage Monster, you got the gray one, sarcastic sort of
Joe
cool
Fix-It.
guy.
Is that his name? Yeah.
And then Joe Fix-It.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then sitting down with Doc Samson and like putting these egos together with Bruce Banner, and then you have that green cover with the new Hulk, which is the amalgam of all of them together. I don't know, just loved it. It's probably a lot nostalgia, and but I'm gonna have to go back and reread them. But that's the one that comes off the top of my head.
Was that the Hulk? I'm sorry, Oren. Go ahead, please.
I was just saying, was that our buddy Shane Luttrell with that question?
That was, yes, Shane Luttrell. Indeed, it was. So thank you, Shane. Then we have a few questions from our buddy and graphics guy, Sean. First one is, do you have any good questions that you forgot to ask a guest or thought of after the interview?
Tons.
So that's what my answer was going to be. Virtually every time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we have an outline that we ask all of our guests, and we try to give ourselves, each one of us, equal amount of time. And, if we went to each one of these interviews with the complete list of questions, they would literally be 2 hours or more. And, it would be very inconsiderate of us to do that. So, I think we've compiled sometimes as many as, 30 questions. And, look, we're not Entertainment Tonight. So
not only that, I don't know if this has happened to you guys. I'm sure it has, where we have sort of our order and we also don't want to be there for 5 hours. And someone will have, a guest will say something that you really kind of want to dig back into, but the conversation will have moved on and you can't just like go back. That always kills me. I'm like, I really wish I could have just needled into this one thing, but it's already like 3 questions beyond there. And you're like, so absolutely. I can't think of any specific ones. Can you think of any specific or guests or questions that you didn't get asked or you didn't get to ask?
I know I wanted to lean into more of New 52 with Dan DiDio, but he was so inviting about his questions. And I try to really give a nice smattering of everything that he's worked on and been a part of. But I really wanted to kind of dig a little deeper on certain things. But one, I wanted to be mindful of his time. And, it's not like we're some big, operation. And he is, a big name person. And I wanted to be sensitive about New 52 at the same time. So,
yeah. I'd say for me, first of all, my daughter just texted me to stop swearing. So I'm sorry I dropped the S word earlier. Sorry, Lena, that you had to hear me use such profanity. I will try to refrain. But for me, upcoming guest, without spoiling anything, Jerry Conway. He was a really cool dude, and we were sort of talking about where he was in mindset-wise with a lot of the characters created. And I wish we had more times to really have dug into that because he just was so open and so thoughtful about where he was at the time when he was writing these things.
Yeah. For me, it's sort of, it's 2, and it's 2 that we're lucky enough. I'm going to knock on wood anyway. And even though this is going to be somewhat of a spoiler, but a couple that we're going to be lucky enough to hopefully speak to again. One was Mark Waid, who Oren and I, interviewed on a very short time schedule. He only had a half hour, but he did graciously agree to come back. And I know Joe didn't get to ask any questions. Specifically around, I wanted to dig deeper into Kingdom Come, I think. And I know Joe probably had a lot of questions for him. The other person who, again, hopefully we're bringing back this time solo. Again, we're just dropping all kinds of names and bombs here, but is Ron Lim. And I wanted to talk more about his work on the Infinity series and taking over for George Perez on Infinity Gauntlet, because that had to be kind of a high pressure situation.
Agreed.
All right. Another one from Sean. What was the most surprising thing a guest had said?
Yes, coming on.
That's a good one.
Really?
A lot of them, right?
You really want to talk to us?
When Eric Larson said, "Sure, I'll come on," and I had to call Joe and be like, "So, this is happening."
I just soiled my pants.
Dude, he really wants to talk to us.
He contacted us, and we'd only done 2 episodes.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. It was a holy S moment. I didn't curse, Lena.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a wow, because for anyone who, well, no one really knows this, but when we first started, a goal for Orrin and I was interviewing Todd Mcfarlane. And when Orrin said Eric Larson, I was like, whoa, this may actually happen. It has not as yet, but
He's in the league. I mean,
Yeah.
we've gotten some people that I would consider in the league of McFarlane.
Yeah.
And yeah, the conversation with Eric, I mean, I talk about jealousy for not being on one. That was one of many that I was not on that I am very jealous of. And maybe we can have him back too.
Well, why not?
Never know. I would say, I don't think I was on this one either, but I remember hearing it. I think it was Paul Kuppelberg. When he was telling the story, and he didn't reveal the name of somebody, a great comics talent, at a convention somewhere that they had, that was drunk, and now that I'm trying to weave my way through this with knowing that Lena is listening, but was out there to procure a girlfriend for said creator.
Yeah.
And I was aghast.
You clutched your pearls.
I clutched them hard. I said, I don't know what comic book industry you were in, but oof.
Well, that tears it.
That I would say was one of the more surprising things. But I'm sure if we look back on it, there were probably a couple others that were like,
yeah,
whoa.
This isn't anything that happened during an interview. It was like minutes or seconds before the interview. And I won't say who it is, because just to be respectful of anyone. But right before I click record, our guest just takes a swig out of his Jack Daniels bottle. And he's like, bam, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome.
That was a surprise.
Yeah. So that was a recent one. But yeah, that was cool.
And he's an overall badass dude.
Yes. Yes, he is. He is.
Legit badass dude.
Yeah. He's like, yep, let's do this. I have to teach a jujitsu class in the morning.
Yeah, black belt jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, at 5:30 in the morning, not just in the morning.
Yeah, seriously. I was like,
all right, why don't you have another show?
You are oodles cooler than me. Mostly because I use the word oodles.
Yeah, that would do it. He would smack the oodles out of your mouth.
He wouldn't say that.
I just ranked myself even lower on the totem pole. Okay, another last question from Sean is, which guest were you each the most starstruck by? Many of them, so that's kind of tough to pick one.
Yeah. All right, you guys go first. Go ahead.
I'd say for me... Go ahead, Mike.
No, go ahead, Orrin.
I would say Chris Claremont, because he's Chris Claremont, and he's Chris Claremont.
There you
go. And you're just like, oh, please don't say anything stupid. Like, there's so much to ask, and you're like, this is the king. This is royalty. This is, top writers of all time, and you are blessed with a few moments to speak to him, and you want to use that time as wisely as possible.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I'd be surprised if the ones we're going to mention aren't the ones that are very high on our view and download counts. For me, it was Walt Simonsen. And that was an early one, at least for me, having joined the show a little later. But, I don't know what it was about, having him on particularly, and just seeing him on my screen where, I've only really seen his art, and, I know his like signature. How sometimes you just sort of like visualize someone and then you're talking to them and it's just like a weird out of body experience for having like, is it matching up with what you thought it was going to be? So, and he was, a pleasure to talk to, and a really cool guy. And we very much hope to have his wife on too. She is I think we can say, and this was probably going to be a question later on, or a talking point is, who we're looking forward to getting. But I would say Louise Simonsen is probably at the top of the heap.
Huge.
Joe, what do you got?
There's a
Among
few.
the many.
It's hard for me to point to just one. Paul Levitz was a big one for me, just because of his just extensive career at DC and everything he did. He had a great run. What I liked about talking to him is how he learned every aspect of the business. So I found that really interesting. Dan DiDio was a big one for me for a number of reasons, which everyone's heard me yammer on about. And then most recently, coming out tomorrow on the Dollar Bin Bandits podcast, Rags Morales.
What?
Yeah,
we talked to him?
That's happening. Yeah, no, for real.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a big one for me because you'll hear it in the episode if you hear it. But yeah, on my wall of crisis is Identity Crisis, and I absolutely adore that story. So, and his artwork was for me it was great. So, talking to him was really it was fun. I was nervous as hell because I wasn't quite sure, if he would be, really into it. Some people might be a little standoffish, not knowing what to expect, but we're not like we're really intimidating people.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was it. I mean, awesome. Jim Starlin, the guy.
I think we're in a perpetual state of intimidation.
Yeah, every episode, it's because they're well-known people on there. They're people we respect, and you want to make them as comfortable as possible, and get their stories out.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, a couple of Twitter ones. I'm glad we got some from the old Twitterverse, and they're not like trolls, just being like, "Why are you guys terrible? I hate you. Tell me why you're so bad." It is a good question, but we'll maybe get to it a little later.
Yeah.
We got one. Who's the best X-Man? And that's from Daniel Fee, who has his own show. If you haven't seen it, he gets some good guests as well. Who's your? I guess we're gonna go with favorite. I don't know about the best. How we rank that, other than the Jim Lee card set from the '90s.
Yeah.
Maybe we can look at the back of them and look at their.
Do they mean like character or best X-Man like book or artist?
I think probably character.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking. All right.
Anybody jump out in your minds, fellas, or just your favorite? I mean, who do you like?
Well, I think a lot of us at one point or another loved Wolverine. Except we have been, satiated with Wolverine at this point.
I know I have.
Yeah.
He's satiated me a lot.
Yeah. Cover your earmuffs. I don't know. There's way too many X-Men at this point, but I will say Colossus.
That was what I was going to say.
Yeah, I like Colossus really a lot cool too.
Character. Yeah. They've made him, he's pretty deep over the past few years. He was actually the Juggernaut for a little while. So not only is he Colossus, but he's Colossus with the gem of Sitarak and the whole thing. That. So yeah. So metal skin and everything. So yeah, it's pretty badass. And in the whole astonishing X-Men storyline, he sacrificed himself to save the world.
Spoilers.
So he died.
Oh, now you tell me.
Oh, sorry. This is a story.
This probably like 5 years ago or that.
But yeah, it was a cool character.
I in the 90s totally fell for Gambit like everybody else.
Loved him.
I loved him.
Fell for him.
I fell for him hard, especially his accent and the way they gave him that like Creole. Or is that more French? I don't know.
That's just not good.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
And the trench coat and I mean, I just thought it was a cool costume. It was definitely different than everybody else, and I think it was the '90s when they did a lot of those masks that just sort of went like this and then had the hair coming out.
Yeah.
I really liked when Quasar had that outfit too. I was a sucker for that thing. I don't even know what you call it, like a half helmet or something like that.
Yeah.
But then once I matured, I found Nightcrawler, who is just, I don't know. I liked him. I loved his portrayal in the second X-Men movie, but he's very sympathetic character, kind of deep. I love the teleportation, the Bamf, and
you've been bamfing ever since, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. This is going way down a road that I didn't think we'd go down. But I've contributed to that. So, okay. So one other Twitter question, and we'll move on to some other random stuff to talk about. But when are we gonna get Roger Stern on? So this could be a number of. What's that?
I don't know. That's a good question. Does anybody know him?
I've been told that he is retired and happily retired, and I do not believe he gives interviews anymore. That's what I've heard from a few different people we've spoken to.
Right.
But I love it. It's not like we wouldn't want him, but yeah, when we've sort of asked about contacting, we've been told it's not his thing.
Whatever.
Hey,
his
bro.
name comes up.
Guys,
his name comes up on the regular. I think he's probably one of the only really big architects of and contributors to Death of Superman that we haven't had on.
Yeah.
So would have been great, but I respect. And got to respect the retirement. Who's the Spider-Man guy? The writer.
Stan Lee.
We had DeMatteis. We had him on. No. It was what's the guy's name? I'm blanking.
Oh, Michelini.
He
told me he is retired too.
Exactly. So
Mike Zeck is retired. Doesn't give them. And Dan Carlin would love to be on the show, but he is under contract with DC.
Mike Carlin.
Mike
Carlin or Dan?
Mike Carlin.
Yeah, Mike.
And cannot give interviews at this point.
Right. John Byrne not giving interviews, by the way. That's another one we get asked about.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll keep trying.
We'll make do.
We got a lot of great other people to talk to. So
yeah.
Don't you worry about
worries
that.
There. Yeah. So what can we talk about? Like, what can we talk about? What were your favorite guests that we've had on the program? I mean, I think that sort of overlaps with some of the people we've been talking to, but
it's like choosing a favorite child, Mike.
Choose your favorite child. Since Lena's listening, it's Lena.
I'd say for me, Mike Grell. He was a really cool dude and a big James Bond fan. And it was just cool talking to someone what John Sable did so much for the spy genre of comics about James Bond and stuff like that.
Joe, any others?
Chuck Patton. Really enjoyed talking to Chuck Patton. Yep. It was so up until that point, we were very, and when I say up until that point, it was like 6 episodes in or something. But so it's not like we had a whole lot underneath our wing. But everything we were so straight-laced and very nervous. So when we started talking to him, he was really chill, and he was dropping some F-bombs, and he's like, you guys can, it's cool. So but he had great stories. And he was very friendly and very inviting. And, I think, ever since then, I think Orrin and I certainly have been keeping in touch with him via Facebook and social and whatnot. And, asking, I know he's been he was waiting for the new Jack Reacher to come out. So as soon as it came out and I watched it, I was like, hey, what do you think? And, apparently he liked it. So, but yeah, it was, that was one of mine. I really enjoyed.
I will add to the list more recent one, Joe Duffy. And that was one where we had a lot of technical snafus,
Yeah.
and she actually never appeared on camera. So we had to make it a podcast only episode. But she was just such a pleasure to talk to, and Joe can attest. And Ornum, you've said that you this was one of the ones you missed, unfortunately, and maybe we can get her back on. But just so nice, very refreshing in terms of the positivity she brought. Didn't look back on anything with any anger or resentment. She just had fun wherever she went. If her run on a comic ended, it ended. On to the next project. I just thought it was just not to use the word again, but a refreshing conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I like to also add,
go ahead,
Jason Mink, because he's Jason Mink, old guys who like old comics, and if he lived around here, we'd be hanging out with him every day. So Jason Mink up there as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd be a fourth bandit. There are a lot of fourth bandits around. He would certainly be one of them, along with Sean. And there's always room for more fourth bandits. Maybe that'll be our like new group at some point. It's like
it'll be a reality show.
The fourth man in the chair.
I love it. That's Eddie wanted to know, just before we move on to a couple others, before we wrap up, did we ever get our logo printed? No.
Work in progress.
We're looking to getting, like some business cards, maybe some T-shirts, maybe some. I don't know. We'll think about what we can slap that logo on. But I know people are just
this all requires capital.
Looking for the merch.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. So if you guys want to send us some capital, we're. This is how you do it, right? This is crypto.
Yeah, no,
right. We're online.
Absolutely. So this is NFT.
Are we making Dogecoin now?
Sure. Whatever that is.
Yeah. So we're not yet. If we ever are on the what is it called? What is that platform? I'm losing it now.
Coinbase.
For getting subscriptions.
Oh, Patreon.
Patreon. We are not on Patreon yet.
No.
We may be on Patreon, but we're not yet. So yes, we would love to do that, but it requires some capital. I thought we could quickly. I know we touched on this already, but we have a long wish list of guests. Can you guys think off the top of your head? Otherwise, I'll just kind of read some names off. What might be 2 or 3?
Jeff Johns
for you guys. I didn't hear that. It was who?
Jeff Johns.
Jeff who?
Jeff. He's so cool. He's got 2 first names.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
What?
No. Yeah. He's my.
Mom always told me to look out for those people.
Big one for me.
Jeff Johns.
All
right.
Yeah.
We'll put him down. We've at least reached out, I'm sure. But he's a very busy man. I think
he's got a lot going on.
He basically heads DC, right? Or
not
one of the
anymore.
heads?
No. He's no longer with DC.
Right, whatever.
Due to some regime changes up the corporate ladder, he is no longer there. He's writing a bunch of other stuff right now with other publishers. So, but
really? He do a bunch of movie stuff too, right?
Well, he did. He was a part of the, I guess, the production or producing as pertains to Justice League with Zack Snyder and all that stuff. And then he has Stargirl going on, which is amazing. But as it pertains to comics, he's not doing anything with DC anymore, at least currently.
Okay.
But, he was he ushered in the renaissance of the modern era for DC, in my opinion. I mean, all his stories were absolute gold. I mean, from I think it was the Flash, like the Return of Barry Allen or something like that, and then Flash Rebirth and Green Lantern Rebirth, and again Blackest Night, and many other stories. I mean, he was the guy behind it all. So
Yeah.
Yep. What do you got, Oren? Who's at the top of your list?
I think you guys know because I bring it up constantly. Mr. Jim Shooter. I would absolutely be honored to speak to Jim Shooter. I think he just did so many incredible things at Marvel. I know there's various opinions on stuff, but as a fan, as someone who just looked at it straight comic wise, it was a great time for Marvel. It was very innovative. And to speak to someone who, was given such a big job to sort of, I don't want to say right the ship, but get it a little more on course with dealing with such an entity as Marvel, to hear how he dealt with it personally and, having to the everyday part of the job. I'd love to speak to him about it. I think he would be absolutely fascinating. What about you, Mikey?
I agree with both of yours. And if, Jeff or Jim are listening, contact us.
Yeah.
Also, if
I mean, we have
Louise
6 people listening now, so it's possible.
Yeah, I think he's one of them. And Louise is probably the other. Please contact us.
Right.
So
And
I would
Lena.
add to the list my old friend Peter David, of course, from the run on Hulk, the Desert Island book that I would take, and Art Adams, because he's Art Adams. Just a huge fan of his work. I don't know what it was necessarily about the way he captures the essence of these characters. I just love his art. So I'll put those at the top of the list, and then we have a whole bunch of others. So Todd McFarlane, we mentioned earlier. Call us, Todd.
Absolutely.
I know you're not. I know you're watching this.
Yeah.
I know you're listening to this.
Tuesdays. He's been waiting for this opportunity.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's been nervous to get
finally. Wait, let me just put down my stack of money. Let me listen to these guys.
He's afraid we'll say we don't have time for him.
Yeah.
I don't want to get it
As
rejected.
always, Todd McFarlane. We couldn't get to you this time. So what else we got? I mean, we don't want to take up too much of everybody's time sort of celebrating this show, but I just want to bring up a few things that we tackled sort of comprehensively. One is the death of Superman. I think we have done the death of Superman to death.
Well, no, we have part 2 coming out now.
I think we could all recite exactly how that story came about, and the fact that Lois and Clark was coming on TV, and they were not going to be married, so we couldn't have them get married in the issue, so that left a hole for a storyline.
So then
why don't we just kill him?
Yeah,
that was Ordway, right?
It was everyone. It was everyone.
Everyone.
Right. It was right. And what I keep coming back to is the fact that, like, okay, so he can't be married because they're not going to be married in the show, but he can be dead, and Clark is going to be alive in the show. That's like there's no dissonance there.
Living in
very weird way. Anyway, any last bits? Because I doubt we're going to talk to Roger Stern that we want to talk about for Death of Superman.
Any last bits about Death of Superman?
Yeah.
I think.
Or our interviews. I think we did it today. I think we did it.
I think we're good.
Death of Superman is good. And another one, NFL Super Pro.
We tackled it.
We did.
Multiverse of Madness is coming out, so who knows?
Yeah. Probably for a lot of those guys, it was the only time that's been brought up when you think about their storied careers.
So who we didn't so we had Bob
Mike Manley,
Budiansky, who was the editor.
I think Mike Manley threw it.
Did he draw? Maybe he drew one issue because it was someone else. Because I remember someone was telling the story that the
Mike
person
Carlo.
didn't know anything about American football. The artist.
Yeah.
Maybe Mike Manley did one issue. I don't know.
But yeah, we've.
But Bob Budiansky was the editor. We had Fabian Nicieza as the writer.
Who just gave me crap about Professor Xavier and that never mind. Sorry. On in a Facebook thing, he just gave me grief for being excited that Patrick Stewart was in the trailer for Doctor Strange.
Why'd he give you crap? You didn't put him in.
No, I was like, oh no. He made some comment like, Marvel puts characters in trailers that aren't necessarily in the movie. And I was like, oh, that would break my heart. And he goes, oh, if that's going to break your heart, then Wow. He made some comment. It was like, wow, okay. I still like him. So do a whole generation of people, but
I'm glad you kept it together throughout the live stream, Joe.
What's that?
I'm glad you kept it together throughout the live stream.
I'm keeping it real.
Good for you.
It's we got this special place in our heart for those that are follically challenged, like Professor Xavier.
Yeah.
More room for our brains.
It was the most
telekinesis.
It was the most bald glasses people on one stream that ever was in that interview.
Exactly. So NFL Super Pro, we will continue to tout to the high heavens, and if we can find anybody else that worked on it, we will interview them. So the other person that's listening to it that worked on NFL Super Pro, we will interview you.
We'll find you.
Someone in the chat is saying, because we do get comments, you 6 people, and their name is apparently Architectural Foam Panels and Columns. Says NFL Super Pro is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This person knows the truth.
Yeah, and apparently Architectural Foam Panels and Columns.
Yes, and he said Trimp did pencils on a few issues. I do know that the name is it Howard Trimp? Anybody? No, you guys are not getting it. Anyway, no, Oren.
Herb.
I can see it. Herb.
I
can't believe I forgot Herb Trimp. Yeah, Herb Trimp. All right, so Herb. There we go.
Yeah, there we go, Herb.
There we go.
Get
Herb.
together, Farrah.
So, yes, I got to get it together. What else do you guys want to talk about? I mean, we're getting to the hour mark. We can start wrapping it up. I thought it'd be funny if to talk about what are our most overused phrases and praises that we.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I think we said them already.
Yeah.
This person has an extensive career. It's just fabulous. It's amazing. They've done. I don't know. Anything that I've said has probably been used to death.
Let's see.
It's
Go ahead, Oren.
I say for me, I think it's. Let me ask you about. I'm going
to be mindful of your time.
Yeah.
Yes. That always comes up, and very rarely did that come.
It's polite.
What's that?
It is.
It's a polite thing to say.
Yeah. It is polite. We are polite people.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, it's us saying, look, we need to get off this because we want to go to sleep.
Interesting. For a while there, we were a little too heavy into everything was interesting. Not only their career was interesting, but what they had to say was interesting. Everything's interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
And Mike, for you saying bodacious, because you would always try to say that.
I mean, yeah, I try to work that into every conversation. I'm trying to bring it back and make it my, catchphrase.
It's a tough one.
Bodacious. Yeah.
I
don't know. What else?
Trying to
be
PG. I was going to say something.
I know. Is Lena asleep?
Go to sleep.
Yeah. Should be. I'll have to go up in a second to make sure about that. But,
one more comment. Did I miss an entire conversation about NFL Super Pro? If you call 2 minutes an entire conversation, but we have at least a few episodes that you'll want to check out. Bob Budiansky and Fabian Nicieza. Oren, I interrupted you. So rude. What were you going to say?
Oh, nothing. I was just going to say I had some comments.
Why do I have a feeling that guy is... That's Allie, I think. Sorry.
Could be. But I'll post those on Facebook tomorrow. Because I can't do it on my camera. It would just look crappy.
Yeah, I hear you. So made it through 1 year. We almost made it through an hour of a live broadcast. Congratulations to you guys. I love doing the show. I love doing it with you guys.
Congratulations to us.
Congratulations to us.
This is where the Sarah McLachlan music will start playing.
We are the NFL Super Pros of podcasts.
Hells yeah.
Where are we going to take the show in the future? What do we got coming up?
Take it. Where are we going to take it? Maybe out of our basements, for one.
That would be lovely.
That would be cool. We can go on location, for starters, or at least upstairs. And then, I don't know. I think we have great and interesting, sorry to reuse that one, but we have a lot of cool guests coming up. Hopefully we can make our presentation of our shows a little bit more interesting as well. And I don't know. We'll see.
And do more of these because we get to interact with the fans when we do things like this. So I think these are this is a really cool thing to be able to talk to the folks who support us and watch us, and we couldn't do it without you guys, and we can't thank you enough. If it's not for you, this just stuff is floating in the air. But you guys take the time each week to watch us, and we can't tell you how much that means to us that you do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
More of the same, which is not bad, right? So more great guests. We got a bunch lined up. I think we will have more of these conversations, whether it's just us three, which we haven't had many of really,
right.
Or if it's, bringing in a special guest to talk about something in our, Bandit Bits segments. We're looking forward to doing more of those. And yeah, let's see if we can get together in the same space at some point. That would be an amazing, interesting, bodacious idea.
There it is.
Boom.
Hells yeah.
But yeah, thank you all. We really appreciate all the kind words. We love being on Dollar Bin Banter on Facebook. That's been fun to, talk to everybody about, all kinds of comic stuff. And some lovely reviews on Apple Podcasts and ratings. We're, sitting at a 5-star rating, which is amazing. And we really appreciate all those great reviews, and we can't wait to bring you more of this program. So, Joe, I always look to you to wrap up.
Okay.
Because of those dulcet tones of yours.
I'm going to wrap it up. Gentlemen, I'm going to thank you both for allowing us to present to the people of the world our take on the comic book ecosystem, our favorite creators, our favorite writers, our favorite producers, if you will. It has been an amazing year thus far. We have bigger and better things to present to everyone going forward. That being said, you know where to find us on all the social media. You know where to find us on all the podcast platforms, YouTube, etc. Rate, review, subscribe. And tomorrow, it is Wednesday for sure. And you can expect our latest and greatest episode with none other than who, guys? Rags Morales. That's right. The gentleman who is behind the fabulous artwork that I've been complaining and talking about, Identity Crisis, among many other things. So check that out, download it, get it in your ear holes, and we'll be sure to see you next time.
Thank you, guys.